Hello, English 1002. I wanted to make this recording to clarify, maybe to shed some light on some of the details about the requirements for the sources that you're going to be finding for your research paper. Let me a brief preface here. Some things have changed about the course that I regret from as we move to the 8-week accelerated format. I'm glad we've done that. Don't get me wrong. It enables a lot of y'all the opportunity to get 6 hours of English composition out during the same semester, but it really scrunches things up. Just for instance, if you would have taken this course a couple of years ago before this accelerated format idea came along, right now you would be doing an annotated bibliography project, which would be a fairly detailed research assignment where you would simply be looking for sources of information, potential sources of information for your documented essay project. We would spend a little over a week on that, and you would turn in a formal list at the end of that week, looking up a variety of kinds of sources, including websites, reference books, periodicals, all the different categories. You can probably, actually, if you know what students said about that assignment, then you'd probably be saying, "Whoa, what a relief we're not having to do that," because it was a trying assignment, but at the end of it, students really felt like they had a handle on the topic. They had a handle on the research. And now we're doing the whole research paper in 2 weeks. I feel like, in a sense, y'all have a lot of pressure on you to do something that you maybe don't feel real comfortable doing. So I think a couple of considerations. First of all, remember, I'm not looking at you to write a research paper the quality of a graduate level thesis. We're talking about a freshman composition level introduction to research writing. The basic mechanics, the basic characteristics and features of that style of writing, the mechanics of documentation and citation, just the basics. That's why on this paper you're only going to be required to use 3 sources. One of those sources should be a primary source. 2 of those sources should be secondary sources. You may use more than 3 sources, by the way, and you may use more than 1 primary, more than 2 secondary. Those are the minimum requirements. And just a reminder, a primary source is a source written by the author himself, the poem or the short story in question. A secondary source would be an article or a book written about the author's life, or an article or a book that criticizes or that has background information, explanation, interpretation of the literary work. I want to add some details to the requirements that are not specified in the written instructions. It just says, the instructions simply say at least 3 sources, 1 primary, 2 secondary. I'm going to put an extra restriction on that. Not a restriction, but a condition. At least one of your sources, listen carefully, at least one of your sources must be a conventional print source. In other words, you can't just run to the internet and find all 3 of your sources there. Let me backtrack a moment. All 3 of your sources. If you're going to do a good job on a research paper, you're going to do a lot of research and a lot of locating articles and information before you actually write the paper. I think most students that are going to do well on this assignment, even though you might only have 3 or 4 sources that you cite on your paper, you're going to read, inspect, examine, locate, evaluate 8, 10, 12, 15 potential sources. You're going to go through all of that to narrow it down to the 3 or 4 or 5 that are going to do you the most good. But research always starts off broad, looking for more than you're going to need, then narrowing it down to focus on the stuff that works the best for you. So remember that. You're going to be looking for more than just 3 sources. You're going to be looking through more than 3 sources. But anyway, one of the 3 sources must be a print source, which means you're going to have to go to the library, you're going to have to go to a bookshelf somewhere to find one of 3 different types of print sources. A reference book. A reference book is those types of books that you cannot check out of the library. One type of reference book I don't want you to use. Okay, you cannot use this one to count as a reference work or as a print source. That is an encyclopedia. You're too far beyond 6th grade report writing to run to an encyclopedia for this level of research. Okay, I know it's basic mechanics of writing research, but this is a college level assignment, so we're not going to use the encyclopedia. But you can use other reference works, and there are all kinds of good stuff in the library. Everything from dictionaries of literary biography to volumes of collections that analyze and explicate stories and poems. Real good stuff. Reference books are easily distinguished in the library by the fact that you cannot check them out. The other type of book that you can check out is the other type of print resource you can use, a regular book. You might find a book about Edgar Allan Poe, or you might find a book about 19th century American literature that has a chapter or a section on Edgar Allan Poe. And you can use any type of those books. And books are differentiated from reference books in the library in that books can be checked out and taken home. The third type of print source that might work for you that would count for the requirement of at least one print source is a periodical. Periodical would include a newspaper, magazine, or a journal article. And you'll find those in many different types of libraries. I don't think you need to run to the nearest research library, like on campus at LSU or on campus here at LSUE or at the Dupree Library at UL in Lafayette or wherever you live. You can go to your local parish library, your local community library, and find the types of resources that you need to help you with this assignment and to do a good job on it. If you don't have any, if you have any questions or you're not clear on any of these details, by all means, let me know. Post a question in the forum, and so that everybody in the class can benefit from my answer to it. I think in this first part of Module 7, you should be spending a lot of time researching. You're probably not ready to write yet, but you should be looking for sources, reading through more material than you're actually going to use. But remember, right now you're trying to shape your thoughts, and the way you do that is read, and of course take notes, highlight, and keep a record of what you're doing. All right, I'll see you in the discussion forums.